Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. This is another day the Lord has kept us. He's blessed us to see this beautiful day, even though it's snow and ice. He's kept us and He's blessed us. So we're grateful to God for this another day. Well, I am Portia Wheatley. I am the founder. I am the president of a nonprofit organization acknowledged as Trophy of Life Incorporated. And we have the great pleasure of extending hope and encouragement to the whole wide world. And we are grateful that you've come to join us and tune in to this, our platform, acknowledged as platform for Project 365. And we're on day 50. Oh, 50 consecutive days. So, we've been blessed thus far, and I really believe God is going to keep us and bless us to continue for the remainder of this year. Let's bring in our co-host.
Hello, everybody. My name is Takira Swan. I am the co-host for this beautiful platform, and I am so happy to be here.
So wonderful to have Takira, always. And we will introduce our guest momentarily. But I want to make sure you take the opportunity and the privilege to go to our YouTube channel and subscribe as we take this message of hope, encouragement, and inspiration all around the world. And you will help us to do the same thing. When you do that, when you subscribe and you share and you comment, just to take all of these messages that we bring to you across the world. And we're so grateful for that. Well, today, our guest today is a mother and daughter team in the persons of Jennifer and Lauryn Carr. Let's say hello to them.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. It is a pleasure to have them with us on today. And our topic on today is the relationship of mom and daughter as a result of the mother. Well, I'm saying the mother as if they're not here. As far as Jennifer being incarcerated for a length of time, and then having to come out and reconnect with her daughter and her family. And that is a situation within itself. And we see that a lot. But we're so grateful to God that they have a wonderful relationship, because it could have been the other way. But they have a great relationship, and they're going to tell us what happened, how it was done, how they reconnected, how they began to bond all over again. And that is a message that I want you, our audience, to go and share that with other mothers and fathers and sons and daughters that have been disconnected. But there is life after being in prison, and they came back together to be connected again. And that's nothing but God. So on that note, we're going to yield the floor to you, Jennifer and Lauryn. God bless you as you come and share with the audience.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Miss Portia and Takira, for having us. Yes. We are humbled and honored. I am Jennifer.
I'm Lauryn.
And Lauryn is my 17-year-old daughter. She's a junior in high school. So pray for me.
Okay. Pray for me.
Right. For both of us then, right? So a little bit about our story and our journey. In 2018, I'm a single mother also. I have a son who is 12 years old also. So for the most part, it's just always Lauryn and her brother and I. So I'm a single mom. In 2018, I was arrested. And I was actually arrested in the home. And actually Lauryn witnessed when the police came to the house to come to arrest me. So that's something that was very traumatic and emotional at the time. That was the first time that I ever been or had been incarcerated. So I was incarcerated. The day after I was incarcerated, my father passed away. And being in that situation, first of all, I'm in jail for the first time. I'm scared. I'm worried about my children. Who has my children? Where are they going to go? What stability do they have? And then on top of that, I'm dealing with my father losing my father, but they're also dealing with, they're losing their grandfather. And I've always been there, so I wasn't around on that time. So there was a lot of emotional trauma that just, took me out during that time, or during that time period of that incarceration. And a little bit to go back into how I led up to that point of incarceration. At the time, I worked for the government. I was the children's director at my church, served in ministry. The kids always saw me as strong mom that has it together, mom that is taking care of everything. I did the Lauren plays golf. I did the golf things. I did my son with basketball and all the sports. And, if they had award ceremonies, I was there. I did it. I handled always the person that was strong. I had it together. Super mom. Didn't need anybody. Didn't want anybody. I was good. And that facade of always having it together is pretty much what led up to the point of me being arrested. I found myself in a relationship that I suffered domestic violence in. And because of that, I suffered in silence. And by the time that it got to be so bad, and I kept all of the rejection, all of the hurt, all of the trauma, I kept covering up, kept hiding. I'm strong, wearing a smile all along while really fighting a whole, the devil and the enemy on my back. And but still keeping the household together, still showing up for work, still showing up for appointments, still showing up for games and things like that, church events, all of that. Made sure that they were involved heavily in youth and everything. And even in the midst of that, dealing with my own personal trauma, and kept bottling up until Jennifer finally snapped under the pressure, and I ended up committing arson. I tried to set the young man's car on fire. So, sometimes people talk about I almost went crazy. I was the one that went there.
Cross the line.
Cross the line. Exactly. However, the thing though, God is so gracious and he's so merciful. So even during that time, it brought me to a place of weakness and humility of being incarcerated, because the person who seems to have it all together, so strong, never needs anybody, always does it. Now I need everybody. I need all the help that I could get. And one thing that was so gracious and beautiful is that we were really in the whole time I was in a wonderful church, a beautiful church of community with my friends and family, that I really did have support. I really did have help, but I never yielded or relied on that help or opened up to talk to that help. So the whole time, that beautiful community of people that God had blessed me with, they were there. And so when I was away and incarcerated, they really stepped in, and they rallied around my children. Shalon can share some of her experience with the people that, like, how they stepped in.
I'm gonna go back a little bit beforehand. I was gonna cut her off a little bit, but I didn't want to be rude.
You're good.
But the way beforehand, just like to give a little context with me and my mom's relationship before this whole incarceration thing. That's a big word, you guys. But it wasn't really much of like a real relationship. It was just like mom daughter type of thing. Like you could have, I don't know. It just felt really odd. Like there wasn't a lot of communication going on. There wasn't a lot of things that was happening. Like the deepest the conversation got was like, how are you doing in school? And that was it. There was nothing ever deeper than that. It was just like this regular level. Like I didn't tell her what's happening in my life, and she didn't tell me what's happening in her life. It was just like we were playing facades with each other, even though I lived with her 24/7. So in that moment when incarceration happened and when it came over, I was surprised. I was like, what's happening? I was confused. I was like, it was a day off of school and everything too. I was having my best life. And it just flipped 20 like really fast, so fast. And I was like shocked and I didn't know what to do. And at the time it was just me and my brother left at home, and she was gone with the police elsewhere. And my brother was out there in tears, and I didn't want to be the one that was weak in that situation, because that's all I knew. When times get rough, you don't be weak. You don't have that look on you. You always pretend strong.
And I'll put this in here. That's something that she learned from me, because you're always teaching her to be strong. You got to hold it together. You have to have everything together. So in hindsight, it was a pattern that she literally got from me, of seeing me.
Yeah. So I would always just, I never let myself actually realize the depth of the situation. I never let myself realize what was going on, because I always wanted to focus on everyone. I want to make sure everyone else was okay, but I never actually had that realization, okay, we're going through something. And I never let myself depend on God when I needed to the most. I depended on everything else I could. I could depend on social media, I depended on Netflix, YouTube. I depended on every other situation, but I never let God be my main source of resource or resortment. What's the word I'm looking for?
Mhm.
Of just that restoration, and let me be okay. Because I just didn't want that confirmation, because I felt in my mind that, I don't know, this is probably just me, but I'm much of a perfectionist where everything has to be okay. Like my grades have to be okay, or else I'm going to cry, or I have to be good at everything, or else it's just going to be the worst time ever. And I felt like, as a Christian, I felt like I couldn't do wrong. I couldn't be in bad situations. I couldn't be in this place where, like, oh, my mom's in jail. I couldn't be that person because I felt less Christian being that person. And that was nothing but the devil telling me that I couldn't be in bad situations, or else that made me a bad Christian, or that made me, I got what I deserved. Like God just gave me that because I deserved that. And I felt like I didn't want to confess that to anybody. So like my mom said, there was a lot of people who were around us. And this is the first time that anyone knew that a big situation was happening to our family. Everyone knew that there was something wrong with our family. And I didn't want to fess up to that. Even though everyone was aware of it, everyone knew it. It was a hot topic around church. No one, I didn't want to fess up to it. I pretend everything was okay. I didn't want to talk to anyone about, oh, are you okay right now? Because that's the only question that anyone had for me, and I didn't want to answer that question because I was just, I felt like a horrible Christian for having those down moments, for just realizing I'm not perfect in this moment, and that makes me feel horrible, which took a lot of time to redo that.
So it's almost like at the same time, we're like doing this parallel thing of really facing it, both of us,
Right.
in our own realities of, I'm facing the fact of, I'm incarcerated. I'm away from my children. There are some things and issues that I've kept buried. There are some things that I kept hidden that I never dealt with. And I tell people this all the time. One of the hardest parts about being incarcerated was not necessarily being away from my children or being away from my family, but it was having to be in that cell by myself and to deal with Jennifer and to deal with the reality of, this is where you're at and this is what's going on. And the thing that got scary to me is that when I would talk with Lauryn and everything would be, I'm fine. I'm fine. How are you feeling? I'm fine. And it's like, no, it's okay. Like, it's okay. Learning to say, like, it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to cry. It is okay to say, I need help. It's okay to say, I really need to talk to somebody. It's okay to say, I have all these thoughts going through my mind and through my head, and I need someone to help me flesh this stuff out. So learning to say, like, I'm not okay in this moment, and it's okay. And I literally had the conversation with Lauryn. This is while I was incarcerated, and telling her, Lauryn, you're going to have to talk. If you don't want to talk to me, if you don't want to talk to your aunties, you somebody to talk to, because in essence, I almost saw myself, her mirroring me, because you keep it so much bottled up. And it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be upset with mommy right now. Mommy's upset with mommy right now. But being able to have that honest conversation and facing it. And I wanted to be intentional while I was incarcerated, because like Lauryn said, we didn't have those deep conversations. We did a lot of stuff on autopilot, but we didn't have those heart-to-heart conversations. So one of the things that I did do, I don't know if she remembers my mommy memoirs.
Yes.
So one of the things that I did is, while I was incarcerated, I wrote them, and I called it my mommy memoirs. And I shared with them personal stories about myself, of, why am I like this? Or why is mommy so particular in this area? Or those type of things. And by the time that, I came home, they had, an entire like book collection, yes, of journals and mommy memoirs that I was able to share. And another thing, God bless, that when the facility, the jail that I was at, they allowed the children to come in during the summertime twice a week. And we were able to sit down and have dinners together. We were able to sit down and discuss and to talk about things. And it was so very helpful. Even me, I'm in therapy. And before the pandemic hit, we were in like a family therapy class that we did together with me and the children. And being able to say, like, those things are okay. Like, and, even now I try to be more open and transparent, because the thing is, I don't want her to repeat my same mistakes. And I don't want her to go down the same path that I went down, because I was, pretending and I had everything good. One of the first things when I was incarcerated, the first time I heard the Lord speak to me, he told me, I was in the shower, and he said, Jennifer, I cannot deliver who you pretend to be. And I learned right there in that moment that if I wanted to get out of this thing, I needed to be honest with myself and be honest with God and be honest with the people that were around me and to say that I need help. And during that process, it has brought a beautiful, like God is so masterful and he's so purposeful in everything that he does not waste anything that you're going through. Because I mean, literally, when you yield yourself to him, there are issues that even within yourself, the relationships that you have, that God truly is a God that is able to restore. He is able to heal. He is able to take the broken pieces and so strategically put them back together in the right places at the right time and orchestrates it so beautifully the way that he does it. And it's like nobody but God. And even from like our relationship with that we have now and stuff like that. I mean, even I'm away from the home working during the week at times, and I mean, she calls me, she sits at my desk with me, she FaceTimes me, we sit there and talk, and it was very important to me to be in my journey of this point of restoration. Like I felt like I showed my children what it was to fail. I showed them what it was when you don't handle situations the right way. But at this point, I want to show you what restoration looks like. I want to show you what forgiveness looks like. I want to show you what it looks like when you're down literally in the valley of having nothing and everything. I want to show you what it looks like to pick up when God picks up the pieces and restores and to heal. So that has been a very important process for me, is to show and to demonstrate. I've showed you negative things, but now I want to show you literally that God can take the brokenness and he can literally give you a beauty for the ashes. Yes, beauty for the ashes. And I have seen her grow and flourish even with her own. She has a whole YouTube ministry that she does, a whole TikTok ministry that she does, and even in her own, in her own unique way. Even her and some of her cousins, they have a quarantine worship that they do every Sunday on Zoom. But to see that even that God took a situation that was horrible, and literally by all statistics, our story should have ended up another way. By all statistics, I should still be in jail right now. By all statistics and by everything, this really should have been a wedge that the enemy really could have used to, bring in all kinds of a door that he could have used to open all kinds of things, of addictions in her life, or sexual things in her life, or perversions in her life. This really could have been a window that the enemy had to take advantage of the situation. However, I'm so grateful, grateful that God came into this thing when you literally allow him to do it and put the pieces together. And he turned what was supposed to be a devastating story into something that was beautiful. And he'll give you, like she said, those beauty for those ashes of everything that you've gone through. Like I'm seeing the fruit of it now, like manifest in our lives.
And I will say on that, before, that was really good. I didn't want to interrupt. She just goes on and on.
Sorry.
I feel bad for interrupting. But I will say on that at least from my point of view of it, it took a while for me to get there. It was even after she was out of jail before me. I even got to that point where I was like, okay, it's God who need to trust. It's because I feel like I was just I'm a very prideful person. Like I like taking the credit for doing stuff, and I like doing things my way. And when it comes to letting people in and letting people have that time to help you and heal you and realize that you can't do some things by yourself. Mm-hmm. Like it's not Lauren effort. It's not sorry. I realized it wasn't Lauren against the world. It wasn't Lauren, you got to do everything by yourself. But it came to my mind that it wasn't just Lauren. It was Lauren and God against the world. That even when I felt by myself, even when I felt alone and I felt like I was the only one that understood where I was coming from, the only one that got where I was doing, what I was doing, what's happening in my head, it always became God and Lauren. It always became, God was always there every single step in the way. He always knew every single thought in my mind. And I always put him in this like little box and said, you don't understand, God. You don't realize what I'm going through, God. Or you can't help me. You're just going to give me some kind of petty scripture and something like that. Not that saying scriptures are petty. Scriptures are very helpful. But I'm saying that God, like you're just going to give me something like Christian that I do not want to hear right now. Like you're not going to give me something really
You
human.
want something practical.
Yeah, I wanted something that just like blunt, like God, just tell me something that's going to help me out. Like, you're just going to give me some wise words that I'm not even going to understand, something like that. It's something crazy. But I realized that it's God we're talking about. God knew what he was doing. God, the crazy thing is that we put God on this limit as if he doesn't already know what's going to be the outcome, as if he doesn't realize what's going to happen like 10 to 5 years from now. Like, I just say, God, even though I don't understand like what's happening right now, you do. You already knew the plan. You already knew this is going to be what's up. This is nothing surprise for you. Even though I'm surprised what's happening, you already knew what's going on. And what I realized is that in these moments of despair and doubt, when I feel weak, that's when God is like, hey, it's my time to shine. Like, it's my game, man. Like, let's go on. It's me against the devil and you're on my side. There's nothing that we cannot do together. And so it became Lauryn, it's not you by yourself. It's not Lauryn, you got to do everything by yourself. You don't got to go through the storm by yourself. But it's God, I brought you here for people alone to bring you together. And I realized that with all that happening, that I had to depend more on God and less on myself in order to be satisfied and completely just restored, like she said.
And that's our story, is that if you trust the process, and you trust God to be in, and you invite him into that process, he's able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that you could ever ask or think, according to the power that worketh within you.
Amen.
That is so beautiful. That's so beautiful. I'm telling you the whole story. Now, one thing I do want you to share is you told me one time how much time you were supposed to get and how much time you got. Tell us that.
So let me tell y'all, God is he's a very good God. I actually came home in 2020. When I went to court, they wanted 50 years, 50 years, is what they wanted to give me. And then at that, they wanted me to do at least 10% of that time, which would have been 5 years. And I'm telling you, it's good to know people. You got friends that can hang out, friends that can play games and stuff like that, friends to go shopping with, but you need some people that know how to pray and know how to intercede. And literally, when we were in the court, the judge, he said it out of his mouth. He said, I don't want to do it, but I am going to do it. And they let me go. And that was nobody but the mercy and the grace of God. Amen. Because I even started calculating in my mind, even 5 years, how old that my kids would be when I got out and how old I would, you know what I mean? So God is merciful. And one thing I promised him, God, if you get me out of this, I promise you, I will tell my story and you don't have to ever find me back in it again. Because I am grateful because he literally restored back time to us.
That's beautiful. I'm telling you that this is such an encouragement to individuals who have gone to prison and think their life is over.
Yes.
Who really think their life is over. And to our audience, once again, I'm asking you, if you know someone that's been to prison and that have children, not just children as far as really young ones, but teenagers. This is someone, or these are individuals or young ladies that can tell you a story of the comeback, how God can rebuild, how God can put together again. And this is the type of encouragement and inspiration and hope that people really need today. They really need this. This is wonderful. I just thank you again for agreeing to share your story. Many people don't want to tell the story, but be transparent so that you will be able to help other people, support other people, empower other people. It's just something about it. God bless you. God bless you. Now, Lauryn, on weekends, on Saturdays, we have we set that all Saturdays aside just for the next generation. We call it the voice of the next generation. So we're going to have you back so that you'll be able to just share what you do with your YouTube channel and TikTok and all those other things. And by that time, you'll have your license too, and tell us about that experience.
I will.
Pray for me.
Hold on for a moment. We have some wonderful feedback and closing remarks and statements from our co-hosts.
Okay, guys. So one, I just love your relationship with each other. It is so beautiful. It's so cute. um, but I want to commend you for one, not only being bold and brave enough to share your story, but to also be such an inspiration and such a light to those who have been imprisoned, or maybe have family members or friends who have been in prison, and to show them that there is truly life after this
Yes.
situation. Because a lot of times we hear the stories of people who have been incarcerated, but nobody says anything about when they get out, how the things they had to go through to transition back into, you know, their family, into society. No one ever showcases that. And you are just such a positive story. Now we're gonna have to, Miss Portia, have another segment, because 50 years, we need to, that's ridiculous. Don't even get me started. We'll have another segment on the system, because that right there is something else. But I'm so happy that and grateful that God gave you grace enough to not have to serve, you know, that sentence. And Lauryn, you know what? I need your TikTok. I want to follow you. I'm on TikTok as well. I love TikTok. But you are such a strong and beautiful young woman. Listen, I know what it feels like to not want anyone to know your family business when something's going on, especially in church. You know, they're like, oh, pray for such and such. I hate that. But you know what? I really do. I'm like, why am I gonna know my business? But you know what?
Good intention, you don't want it.
Yes, right. You don't want it. But I really commend you for being so strong and being able to share your experience and how you dealt with it. And through your testimony, you know, God is really, like she said, restoring the time, and he's just going to do such a great work like within you. I'm just so excited to see what you do. But yeah, so everyone who is viewing this, if you know someone who has been in this situation, if you have a family member, if you are a part of that family and someone that you love is incarcerated, please share this with everyone that you can. Show them that there is hope. You know, being locked up is a lot different from being out here. So it's a completely different world.
Yeah.
And not only do the people who are locked up need hope and inspiration, but those who care for them need it as well. They need that strength. And I just wanted to make one more point. I want to just commend you as well for your strength. A lot of times when especially as women, you know, we want to be so strong and we don't want to show emotion and we don't want to ask for help. Asking for help and showing emotion is such a sign of strength. It's not a sign of weakness. And that's what I've had to learn. So I just want to commend you for even teaching your daughter, you know what, it's okay to show emotion. It's okay to cry. It's a part of, you know, being a human being. We need it. It's a part of being healthy. And it's okay to ask for help from that support group who will have your back, you know, when things hit the fan. So I just want to commend both of you. I see nothing but great things for both of you. And I'm just so grateful that you came here to share your story with us today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's I'm telling you, it's just something about just that transparency. And we're grateful that you decided to share with us. I know you're going to get a lot of feedback as to how you bless other people. Just this right here will go across the world and sharing your message of hope, encouragement, and inspiration. I think I'm done. Takira, do you see any questions in the
let me look. In our chat, you know, no questions, but a lot of positive feedback. So if you guys get a chance, look in there and see what some people have said.
All right. Yep. To our audience, be an encouragement to these ladies. They're on a good journey, and they said that they were going to share their message. So just in case there's an opportunity or a door that's open for them to share their message with your contacts, with your associates and audience, contact them and let them know that, hey, we need that story over here. But to you, we say thank you again. God bless you. And to our audience, we say thank you for tuning in, and we shall see you tomorrow. God bless.
God bless you guys. Bye.